Hanas879 asks, I recently bought the Avata 2 kit with Goggles 3 for my first digital system. I'm now waiting for the O4 air unit to drop so I can swap out my analog system. Yeah, keep waiting. Ooh. But now I'm concerned about all the DJI fuzz. I'm considering Walksnail. What's your thought? Should I just wait? The DJI fuzz doesn't affect you if you're in Norway. I mean, I suppose that there's some concern that, like, what happens in America eventually happens in Europe. But obviously that's not a universal rule. And there's no indication that the EU or Norway is going to ban DJI. That is largely an American phenomena, as far as I know. So I wouldn't worry about it. And, yeah, if you were an American and you were saying, I'm worried that DJI is going to get banned, what should I do? Here's the thing. If DJI gets banned, and that means that no new DJI equipment can get approved, anybody with existing DJI equipment, doesn't that mean it's worth more money? Like, Blunty, talk this through with me. I know you're busy with the chat. I just thought of this idea, and it seems right. And so now I want to, like, bounce it off you so you can poke holes in it, as you do sometimes. If the DJI ban goes through, is existing DJI hardware going to go up in value on the secondary market? What do you think?
Or short term, certainly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Long term? I mean, eventually it'll just get older and older, right?
Well, I think long term is based on what the alternatives are, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if Walksnail releases the next system and it's, O3 equivalent, then what are they even competing with? Because at that point, the O4 will have already been banned, right? So,
well, that's interesting. You're talking about FPV stuff, which of course makes sense. In this specific question, he was talking about the Avata, so that was what was on my mind. So maybe it's a different answer for FPV stuff versus.
Well, he said I'm waiting on O4 air unit to drop so I can swap out my analog. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I think it's very possible that stuff will go up, but I think over time, if there's no I don't know. There's a fixed set of goggles, right? And the drones break VTXs, and I don't. It would be interesting to see how long that secondary market would last if it completely shut off. But we don't live in a world where it would ever completely shut off, because what will happen is the products will still be produced. They just won't be produced to send to the U.S. Right. So you'll still be able to get them, because just like you can get the Vista now, that's not FCC certified. That's my strong assumption.
You're assuming that someone will find a way to import it. Whether technically legal or not.
I bet they'll end up here. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the American market will go down. Stores won't. I don't know. Like, will Caddx suddenly start making O3 air units and goggles too? And it's not DJI. Haha. I don't know.
I think whatever it would need to facilitate that, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Schubert Technology says it's not worth more money if they later ban DJI from operating via an FCC action. Two things about that. Number one, obviously I can't say definitively that won't happen. Just that's just predicting the future. But a reasonable and sober analysis of the current state of things says that is very unlikely. The current rules. There is no reasonable interpretation of the current rules that would retroactively ban existing DJI stuff that currently has an FCC certification, I would say. Blunty, do you agree with that statement or disagree? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Correct. Yeah.
I know you've thought about this a lot, so I feel comfortable just putting you on the spot there. And you have more to say? Yeah.
Well, I'll just say that, like Schubert in chat says, Huawei was first import banned, then later FCC banned. That's not true. I mean, maybe it is true, but they were FCC banned in the same way we're discussing. It wasn't past bans. They didn't ban old hardware from being usable. They banned new hardware from being FCC certifiable, and that's what we're discussing.
And there may have been, and I don't know, but there may have been rules like, you're not allowed to have Huawei technology on federal networks or something like that. Because the federal government said no DJI drones, period, for federal contractors and employees. They can do that. It's their employees. They can define what equipment they're allowed to use. But that's different than banning it from consumers, right? And that's what we're talking about here. The other thing I would say is that even if the worst, your proposed situation comes through and they ban all DJI equipment from operating in the United States, they can't enforce it. The only way they can enforce it is the same way right now that they enforce, I was flying without a spotter. And granted, that's the FCC, not the FAA, which is a different thing. There's no way to enforce it. So a lot of people, if that were to happen, which I don't think it will, but if an actual outright ban happened, a lot of people would just keep flying their damn drones. And they would become even more valuable in the secondary market. So that's what I would say.